officer. So never in my wildest imagination did I feel that I was going to be a retired police officer this far down the road.
So let's unpack that. How did that happen? I mean, you're in California, you left school, you're in junior college, and now you start law enforcement. Is that what happened?
No, I started security work, and I started. My major was public administration on the junior college. Instead of saying criminal justice, it was public administration. And they gave me a certificate in criminal justice.
Oh, okay. And
So
why did you gravitate towards that? What made you gravitate towards criminal justice?
Wow, to be honest, it was when I was at Cal State, I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me. When I went to Los Angeles Southwest Junior College, saw a lot of Black athletes, African Americans, and everybody was taking criminal justice. There was a criminal justice professor named Thomas Hearns. No, not Thomas Hearns. His last name is Hearns, not the boxer. Professor Hearns, but he wore suits, very articulate in criminal justice. So everybody was in the class. So I found a lot of people I could study with. And I started in computers, but I wasn't good at it. So somewhere I said, I have to get a major, something that I can do.
Right, right.
So I was getting C's and D's in the basic. This was right when computers first came out. So I was, it was crazy. So I got into criminal justice, and it kind of worked out for me.
Okay, so you left LA and came back east. Is that what happened?
Well, I came back east about 7.5 years later.
Okay.
No, I'm from here, and I was in the military, so I stayed out in California because I had family.
So you're from Irvington, New Jersey.
No, I'm from Brick City. I'm from Newark.
Oh, Brick City. What does that mean?
I'm from Newark.
What does that mean, Brick City?
The bricks, the projects. That's the projects. All of the high rise. Okay. When they redlining the cities, they put all of the Blacks in the projects in the tall brick buildings. That's where they kept us isolated.
It's like
when you study the history, all the Blacks are in the projects.
So now, so far, so you're getting into the criminal justice thing. You run some track. You're building the military. How does the self-mastery tie into any of that?
Well, never give up. I mean, believe in yourself. Make your parents proud. My journey as far as criminal justice, it took me from the time I started going to college. I graduated from LA Southwest, I believe, in 1986. I didn't get my first law enforcement job until 1992.
Wow, okay.
A lot of, actually in California, there's a lot of racism. LAPD had, I think, Daryl Gates, I kind of get his name.
Yeah, Daryl Gates, right, Daryl Gates.
Daryl Gates, and we had Sherman Block that was sheriff out there, and there's a lot of racism. I took the test for the LAPD, I passed that, never got the job. I took the test in the sheriff's department out there and could never pass that test. And later, many years later, I found out that it was a lot of, they were failing a lot of people. It was very, very racist, very racist. And I was very disillusioned and very disappointed. I was a military sergeant, Marine Corps. I had an associate's degree at that time. I should have been able to just walk into a police shop, but there's so many pitfalls and things. Actually, I got knocked out of LAPD. I was working 2 security jobs. And I called out sick on one of the jobs. No, one of the jobs allowed me to work a second job because I had a young son. I needed to make more money. So I was making $7 an hour. Then I got another job making $7 an hour. But imagine I have to work 8 hours on this job, then do another 8 on that job.
Right.
So even though, wow, it was like, oh, making a lot of money. Think about it, 7 something an hour. I had 1 day off a week, and I did that for 3 or 4 months, and then I stopped. Then I told them I wasn't working the job anymore because they would ask me about it all the time. How can you do that? Well, I had a young son, so I needed to make a little more money. So I called out from one of the jobs to stay home and rest. I had a roommate, and the job called the house, and he told them I was at work. So they was like, he's at work, so they terminated me. You know, so instead of them applauding me for working, they terminated me, saying, we're terminating you on a technicality because you worked for us and you called out sick and went to work somewhere else. That stopped me from getting LAP, the Los Angeles Police Department.
Okay.
With LAPD, you had to do an oral interview. So they asked you a bunch of questions. And they asked me, were you ever fired from a job? And I said, no. Then another question said, were you ever terminated from a job? And I said, yes. I said, I was terminated from a job. And that's what knocked me out of LAPD. They said, well, we asked you, was you ever fired? And you said, no. And then we asked you, was you terminated? And you said, yes. And I said, that's exactly right. When they terminated me, I'm like, why am I losing my job? I said, why are you firing me? They said, we're not firing you. We're terminating you because of a technicality. You can't call out sick on this job and work another job. So something that simple caused me not to have a career with the Los Angeles Police Department.
Probably was divine intervention, right?
It taught me, well, going into the Marine Corps, I went in for the Air Wing, and they gave me tanks. So from the time that I left home, I was dealing with adversity in the military, trying to be the best that I could be, making my parents proud, and falling into a lot of pitfalls, people getting in the way, stopping you from doing a lot of things. So I went from Newark, you see the riots, you kind of know, you really don't know racism because you grow up in Newark, you see it, but you don't know it because you're living.
Oh, right, I got you, right.
Right, so now I'm out in the world and I'm around all the other ethnicities and people pointing their fingers at you and they looking at you. You'll never amount to nothing, you'll never this. And you're like, wow. You know, so, but just having a strong upbringing, I wasn't disrespectful, but I said, I'm going to make it in spite of all of that. So I trying to say that because when we say self-mastery, we have to learn how to overcome a lot of obstacles. We have to have a belief system. Like I said, I was raised by good parents. I had the balance of a strong father and a spiritual mother.